the SK likes to play.
We'll see if that is going to be an issue. Obviously, SK way back in the last Unified Live, I just corrected myself to the wrong name there. SK were the team that the North American players were kind of nervous about, right? This is the squad that they were saying, look, this is the most aggressive European squad at the time. I feel like they still play that style. They still play that aggressive early game that we've seen.
Yeah.
It's going to be Baron and Grace banned away here. Vox is going to be the first pick.
Yeah, I was going to say Vox is probably most likely a pickup because Vox and Poison Shift is good into Lyra. Mousesports is going ahead and pick up this Idris here. We haven't seen a first pick Idris from them in a while. They're going ahead and ban away that Catherine, which means Lyra is open, and most likely SK will deny the Lyra, I feel. Or they may let them have it and because they have a composition that works well into it.
Yeah, I think the Idris pick is actually almost forced here by SK to force Mousesports onto it by banning away the Baron, taking the Vox. That's two of the most played heroes for Apfel, and so now basically says, okay, we have to take this Idris, otherwise we're going to be forced onto a pick that we're nowhere near as comfortable on.
Well, that's an interesting ban considering Idris is already
very
locked
interesting
in.
It's just a throwaway ban. Maybe it's because they want to keep all options open, and they're just going to use that second ban as a throwaway ban. Why not ban Flicker or something instead? But Ringo is a very interesting ban. Maybe there's a secret composition that Mousesports has. We're not sure, but
maybe that's like to do with knowledge from scrims or something about a CP Ringo that's maybe sneaking in. I don't know where.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't understand. Like, I would have much rather seen the Batiste ban come out in that situation because Batiste was I feel like a very likely pick with the Idris already there. So
the Lyra Samuel or Lyra Scarf here is probably what SK is going to pick up. That's what they played really well previously. So I feel like all of the two junglers are going to pick here is most likely going to be Samuel Scarf, or if they want to play CP Blackfeather into a Batiste and an Idris here. So that
they could look for the Sky
probably those
too.
Three. Well, Sky is going to be limited by mobility because of the Batiste ordains and also the Fearsome Shade. If she gets locked into a Fearsome Shade into a wall, she's pretty much dead meat. Blackfeather, on the other hand, can escape, get out of there. They don't have any stuns, so Scarf would also be really good because if you get stacks and you ult, there's nothing that can stop the Scarf and cancel that ultimate. So they have a lot of options for themselves right now.
Batiste can stop it.
Oh, they go with Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel, I think it's just kind of going back to that comfort pick for Tyrus. Tyrus has a phenomenal Samuel, so it makes a lot of sense for if they need a jungler without having really a clear counter pick or anything of the sort. Samuel just kind of seems to be their fallback.
I feel like Vox, Lyra, Samuel is like default composition in the current meta, right? It's like it's pretty good at all facets. It doesn't have any like huge gaping weaknesses in it. It's going to be a KESTREL to finish out the mouse composition though, which this one very much not the default, but you do have the Batiste captain. It's not like any of these are rare
I'm the Doom on a Crystal KESTREL.
Very true.
That's something that has to be cannot be overstated, which again makes you wonder why the Ringo ban. Like, why not ban something that Mousesports plays and plays well, like a KESTREL, like a Batiste, something along those lines. I'm very curious about the decision for the Ringo ban.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. How are we feeling about the win conditions of these two squads then? Because obviously we've got this Lyra, Samuel, Vox composition that we've seen a lot of times at this point in the Vainglory. I want to talk more about Mouse's composition. What are their win conditions, Sweet J?
Well, their win conditions is to get, once KESTREL gets a Shatter Glass, etc., is force objectives, force lane, protect her and keep her safe because she won't build any defense. However, Lyra is really good against the CP KESTREL. She can poke, land one-shots, but Lyra's Q can just negate it. Basically, we saw that in the Gangstars game versus Tempo Storm. So I think if SK plays their comp properly, they're going to win this game.
All right, so they're going to have the sustain to just kind of survive through the KESTREL. What are your thoughts here, Bacon?
I think there's a bit of a concern for SK in the fact that they don't really have anything to hard shut down an Idris. There's the Bright Bulwark, which can stop him from jumping, but aside from that, the only other way to stop an Idris is an Oblivion. And as long as the Idris can dance around those two abilities, Idris, I think, can take this one over.
All right, a lot going to be on his shoulders. We'll see if he can bring it to pass, but it's time to jump into the first semi-final here of the European Vainglory 8. Let us know who you're supporting on Twitter using that hashtag Vainglory 8. Let us know and tag your teams in that one as well. But it's time to pass it on to our casters as we head onto the Halcyon Fold for the first time today.
This is a very exciting matchup here, AJ, of course, myself and you. That is the best intro I could come up with today.
It's
AJ,
early. Wait, it's not for you. It's not early for you. That excuse doesn't work.
It could be early for me, depending on when I woke up. It is Mouse versus SK, and it is going to be pretty exciting nonetheless, because both of these teams right up there on the top of this scoreboard, looking to try and get the 8 points of this week. Whoever finds it is going to be tying Fnatic for first place at the end of this week. If they're able to, then take the finals as well.
Yeah, this week is one with a lot of implications. Let's have a look at the game at hand, though. Already you can see Justman starting to be a little bit aggressive. This is something I like seeing out of these Baptiste players. He is not quite Grace in terms of, ability to go in and be disruptive early, but he does have a lot of damage. He has some good sustain. So it's pretty hard to take him down if he goes for the aggressive play. I think overall, the aggression is pretty well suited out of both of these jungle pairings. I'm not sure either one has necessarily a big edge, because a lot of it is about skill shots. Like if KESTREL lands more than Tyrus, well then, okay, yeah, Mouse is probably going to win that fight. But similarly, if Tyrus is landing a lot of Malices, it's going to be pretty good for the side of SK, and Lyra has that sustain. So either way, it's hard to gauge. And that might end up with the teams both putting their captains in lane, because they just don't want to commit themselves to something so volatile in the jungle. But could also lead to some fairly explosive fights pretty early.
And I actually love the fact that we have I'm the Doom on his signature Kestrel and Tyra's on his signature Samir as well. So as far as these jungle matchups go, they are about as spicy as they can get, AJ. Everyone going to be playing heroes that they have made names for themselves so far in this Vainglory season and the previous seasons as well. We do see an active camo trap. Doom will stun up Tyra's, and that should be Tyra's going down here inside Oblivion. No, he's still alive. The damage is insane. Doom just about escapes, but can Justman take down Tyra's? There's the bad mojo, and it is going to be first blood. Raph trying to find one as well. He's trying to snipe them both. Raph will be rooted. No, he's able to escape. Now looking for Doom. Spots him out here. I think Raph won't be able to get the kill, but it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
What did I say about volatile jungle matchups? That was absolutely awesome. Both teams fighting a lot early on. Raph nearly made the hero plays there. I actually think if he'd gone for the sigil onto Justman and the attacks onto I'm the Doom, that would have been better, because Justman is lower, so the sigil had a better chance of just sniping him. But still, cool stuff out of him. I like that I'm the Doom is trying to go aggressive with the trap plays early on. Hasn't totally panned out. And actually, that was an interesting rotation there from I'm the Doom. He decided to stick around and farm on low energy. Had to back, because obviously Tyrus was forced back and therefore had more items after that. And as such, Mouse gave up the trance. So off the back of what was an even fight, SK took an advantage and Mouse took a deficit because of the decision to not back and try and get more gold in the moment from I'm the Doom.
I'll have to see how that one plays out in this early game. Clearly, these guys already going at each other's throats. The lane, a fairly even matchup for now. Apfel will be at a slight deficit, considering he's has a ranged opposition where his captain is melee. This Baptiste does some range damage with the bad mojos, but that's about it. And Raph and Kavalafar can really poke from range. Good stun with the Ordained. Raph's going to take a lot of damage here, but trying to heal it up as Apfel now under fire. Here comes the Malice and Verdicts. Tyra's, can he find the kill?
Whoa.
No, he gets taken down by I'm the Doom, who just stood his ground and like an artillery found the kills. Now looking to reposition and take down Kavalafar, but Raph very quickly with the sigil will get everyone out to safety.
Heard plenty of things about I'm the Doom's Kestrel. He's certainly putting in the work right now, finding all the glimmer shots, doing all the damage. I do think that Tyrus had a bit of a mental misstep there, trying to go for that kill when the mustache bush was not blocked by anything. So Kestrel glimmer shots were going to annihilate him at this point in the game. Kestrel already has 2 sort of mid-tier CP items, going to be doing a lot of damage. But it's not the end of the world for SK. Things are pretty even. It's about just shy of 1,000 gold lead for Mouse right now. That isn't too bad. And SK has been able to stop them from leveraging a lot of this into objectives because it's so early and they've been taking the trance. Does mitigate the problem a little bit.
Just a little bit. Doom going to match the aggression from Tyrus. He has that one shot. Tyrus with the Oblivion unlocked as well. Fountains are ready to go. Something to watch out for as Kvalifar is going to start eating some damage inside the Oblivion, but very happy to just stand his ground. Justman taking so much poke from Tyros here. Actually, Mouse, without a healer, going to have to struggle to defend this turret, you think. Unless they blow up Tyros or Kvalifar, then the sustained artillery from Tyros and the heals from Raph can really just stack up to be a problem for Mouse.
Yeah, Wrath having the ability to actually heal up his team is kind of the difference maker right now. You can see that I'm the Doom had to eventually back off because Tyrus was trading maybe slightly less than evenly, but it was being made up for by the fact that Wrath was healing him. So this is definitely something that as, you know, the first couple of items get picked up on SK, we'll notice being more and more of a problem for Mouse, because the sustain is going to be coming out more frequently as more levels are put into Imperial Sigil.
Ooh. Apfel's in so much trouble here. Fountain comes out. Good Oblivion there just to stop Kvalifar from aggressing. Apfel a little bit disrespectful, I think, of the damage that Kvalifar outputs with just a Poison Shiv. It allows for him to auto-attack very quickly, and it's really all Fox needs early to be outputting damage. He's going to be in a bit of trouble.
Oh boy.
There's an Oblivion. Oh, Kvalifar's just dead here. That is an easy kill. Does go over to Justman, a bit of an error. I guess you could argue that Mouse with 3 on the board.
That's a really cool combo that I hadn't thought of. You ordain a target, and then Kestrel puts down a trap inside of the ordain. It gives it time to prime, right? Because no one can leave the ordain without being stunned, and if you overlap slightly, you're probably going to hit it too. I like that a lot. I'm the Doom and Justman comboing very nicely. Kvalifar's now picked up a Poison Shiv though, so even with that death, he's not falling too far behind in itemization. He's still pretty strong. I think once we see skirmishes and team fights happening, the fact that Wrath can defend him pretty nicely should help a lot. Although Apfel has unlocked Divergent Paths, does have level 6. As Bacon was saying on the desk, it's pretty hard for SK to deal with an Idris and actually get him off of their parries.
Yeah, the Bright Bulwark can maybe prevent him from jumping in, but so difficult to actually predict that he's wanting to use that Shroud Step, especially considering it's instantaneous. Apfel going to get himself the Poison Shiv now, which is going to at least cut down some of the effectivity of Raph in those full-out engages. Apfel otherwise won't be applying mortal wounds. It's going to be currently just a setup onto Raph. I'm the Doom reveals, but wasn't quite in position to lay down too much damage. Here comes Tyros right on through.
Infused.
And Mouse are disengaging. Yeah, the Infused. Very scary.
Whoa.
And I'm the Doom may go down. No, he just about escapes. The Fountain keeps him alive. Has that one shot, but what can it do for his team at this point? Almost seems like nothing. He's trying to heal desperately here, AJ, so he can come and protect this turret.
That infusion, as far as I'm concerned, has already paid for itself. They're being so threatening to Mouse right now that unless they really mess up and lose a player, this is going to go very well for SK.
Yeah, Mouse really doing their best here. It's going to be a one-shot onto Kvalifar. That's a lot of damage onto him. Mouse aren't able to aggress. Look at Apfel's health bar. He just gets deleted. Justman just about dodging away these Malice and Verdicts. This turret's still alive for now, but I'm the Doom has to go back to base. SK may not siege this turret too much. Can be considered a bit of a risk, but pushing the wave in, yeah, they want it. And Justman may go down for it as well. No,
Ooh.
just about escapes, sitting behind this turret. Raph dives forward. Here comes I Am the Doom, but he can't stop them from securing it. That gold deficit is now in favor of SK.
That was tactically very brilliant from SK. The timing for them going for infusions was huge. They forced the issue immediately, so there's no chance for anyone to react and like pick up their own infusion, be comparable in strength. It really was very well played by SK. They found a turret and a kill off of that too, so they closed that gold gap a little bit. Very hard for Mouse to transition out of that into anything right off the bat. They were able to shove in the wave, but that's about it. So, you know, they're not really mitigating the damage dealt by SK at all. See there just how strong Kyrus is right now as well, and I think that's something we've got to highlight. I Am the Doom has a little bit lower of an effective range of threat, I would say, than the Samuel, and it's just all part of the parcel, right? Like if Mouse want to fight, they've really got to commit, whereas SK can kind of play on the edge a little bit more.
Mouse are looking to commit though. That's going to be Kvalifar take it on down, the one-shot connect, and Apfel able to finish the job. Tyros with his range gets the heal, has energy, but Malice and Verdict isn't as strong without that Drifting Dark, and the cooldown's pretty long. Mouse may look to try and siege up this turret, but they only have a single minion, so they can only do a little bit of damage before the shield starts to come back here. And I don't think they have the time. Kvalifar is going to be rushing down the lane. Refreshed his infusion, level 7. Poke from range. Chakram tears through, but Mouse are forced to leave because sticking around could just be their deaths.
SK might get a gold mine off of this recall from Mouse. It'd be a pretty heads-up play if they go for it, which they are doing. This would actually be punishing Mouse pretty hard for the play they made. Wow, okay, they're going to back off. Just Man by himself managed to put the fear into SK there. I'm kind of surprised by that. I think they probably had the gold mine if they wanted it, but taking the safer option. That fight was an example of what I was talking about, though. I mean, Mouse, if they just snappily go for it, make the engagement happen, it really does put the onus on SK to kite properly. And Kvalifar took way too much damage from I'm the Doom in that instance, letting Apfel execute him basically. So, as much sustain as Lyra has, Imperial Sigil has a cooldown, and you can only use it once if your opponents kill someone quickly enough.
Right now, it kind of feels that SK will win any sustained fight that they get into, but if Mouse are able to get that Batiste close enough to a target that the Ordained is effective, then they have a chance. They have to execute. They really only have one shot here, AJ, to do that. Otherwise, the poke damage that's coming out of Tyra's is just too much, and they can heal up any chip damage that that Doom is putting towards them. Very close game between these two giants here in Europe. Is going to be SK leaving the lane, heading back. A second Shatterglass finish, though, for I'm the Doom.
That's pretty big. I mean, he has got very squishy targets on the opponent's team that he can go for. Mouse, gotta be careful.
They are very caught, and that's just going to be Justman going down. Pops the Fountain, pops the Crucible, actually gets the Fear out as well, but Tyrus is able to get the kill. Used everything to try and keep himself alive and wasn't able to. SK is surely just going to be able to take away this gold miner.
We should probably talk about what to expect heading into the later stages of the game. I do think that Mouse, if they are even or slightly ahead, have a huge lead, because they're going to be able to dive onto the carries of SK and kill them probably before either Kite or Sustain comes through. I think Apfel is very difficult for SK to deal with, but if SK are able to position properly, they can mitigate a lot of that sort of in a vacuum strength that Mouse have, just because of the fact that they'll do so much damage before Mouse actually gets on top of them. It's really going to depend on if Tyrus, can finish up maybe an Eve of Harvest and stay alive through the initial brunt of damage he's taking. Kvalifar should be able to kite fairly well as well, especially with things like the portal just augmenting his natural ability to kite. The fights are going to be very mechanically focused. It's definitely a skill matchup. I think neither composition is massively favored in the late game.
Currently, SK easily just getting damaged there. I think this is the one reason if I was to have to make a prediction on who wins the game, it would be SK, just because their win condition's slightly more simple and slightly more forgiving with just the Lyra. But if they over-aggressive Apfel and Justman decide to engage like this, then they can just blow people up. Tyra's in a lot of trouble, is able to escape. The Crucible going to save their lives. Silence onto Justman and Doom. They're now trying to kite back. They didn't get the kills, but can they get away? Oblivion dodged. Apfel puts the pressure on, and SK will drop back. That is so close, surprisingly. Mouse threatening SK enough that SK didn't want any of it.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that I'm the Doom went for the one-shot, one-kill that he did. I think had he not done that, he would have been able to potentially just chase and kill one of the members of SK Gaming. But as a result, very close fight. I mean, neither team picking up a single kill. It's like I was saying before, I mean, as this game progresses, things are very even. It's all about the mechanical plays they are making. Apfel's just picked up an Atlas Pauldron. We should probably talk about that a little bit. Will be good against Kvalifar, but I do wonder if he needs to just pick up, or rather, I wonder if maybe just Metal Jacket would be better. Given the fact that there's so much damage coming out of Tyrus as well, I want to mitigate that as much as possible. And he's the one going to be hitting you when you're kiting and you're in the face of SK quite a lot of the time.
Going to be another siege breaking out, but great damage coming out of Doom. He's in trouble though. He gets aggressed onto. He is just dead. completely. Not enough to really protect him. Apfel, though, looking for more, looking for Raph, and he's going to find the kill, but can he escape alive? There's a reflex block. One more auto attack will do the trick. Oh, Justman blocking these Malice and Verdicts. Apfel just sitting on a silver HP will walk away from this. But SK going to look to try and get this turret in return. And Tyrus chucks out those Malice and Verdicts, the Drifting Dark, and look at Justman putting on a brave face. The Oblivion goes out as well. He's got the minion wave. He's got to survive. In fact, Apfel's charging in, but can't quite get the auto attack, which would have allowed him to reset his Shroud Step and get it off cooldown quicker. Oh my gosh. Can't believe Justman just, you know, face tanked that and walked away as well.
That was scary close, actually, towards the end there, but SK picking up a turret, managing to get out of there. They're doing a great job of just winning the war of attrition, punishing Mouse for not making the aggression that they need to make happen, whether that be by them taking too much poke before they go in, or going in at the wrong time, because they feel like they have to. I feel like SK is definitely the ones applying pressure to Mouse, and Mouse is not necessarily responding as they need to. But that's pretty hard to do when you're threatened so heavily. Raph does need to be careful. If he gets jumped on, there's so much damage on Apfel right now.
Yeah, certainly is. Apfel is looking to complete his last item here, likely the tension bow. Sometimes we see Idrises go for a bone saw, though, when they're up against targets that would like to build armor, such as the Vox, if you want to try and stick to him and apply the stacks. But tension bow seemingly would be the most likely of choices. Currently, Mouse kind of forced into this passive game where they're forced back towards their lane, trying to set up with the Kestrel. And SK are going to look for the fight here. Justman leading the in towards the jungle, but SK are having none of it. They've got a minion candy on this wave, and they've got the damage on Tyras to be able to just walk straight up to this turret and start chipping away at it, whilst the entirety of the Mouse roster has to pull back. This is such a huge rotation. A free choke point turret. Mouse were just completely caught. They've just picked up a Echo. Justman may look to try and make something happen, but I think SK are safe. Wow, what a great play by SK.
The Frostburn on Tyrus is doing so much work right now. He's able to get very free trades onto anyone who gets hit by any of his abilities even once. Now they're going for it.
Yeah, looking for the fight here. Can they get in range is the question. Double Fearsome Shade. Here's the second one coming out. Oh, that's a huge fear. And that's going to be Cavalify going down. The Oblivion's blocked up. Tyra's now in so much trouble, but he has the movement speed and the heals, and it's Apfel trying to escape. They're looking for Raph instead. Tyra's going to come through the portal. Raph will walk away with his life. They've taken down Apfel. Tyra's, they're all so low, and he's got the speed. He's charging into Doom and finds the kill. Only Justman standing, but he can't run forever. And the ace comes through. A triple for Tyras. What a monster he is.
Really is. Raph, too, though, I mean, unsung hero of that fight with a great portal and great jukes in the bush to make them stay near it, so when Tyras came through, he was able to follow up for the kill. That was just really strong stuff. I mean, Tyras, you gotta think about what would happen if I was playing this hero. Well, I'd miss a bunch of the skill shots, right? And that would look very different. He is so consistently able to land not just the Malice, but the Verdict too. It's really such a boon to SK that they picked this player up at the beginning of spring, because he has shown up again and again. Incredible player. Does get chunked out a little bit there. Gonna have to eat the heal from Raph in order to keep the push going, but this could be a back-breaking push here, Dowsey, coming out of SK Gaming. I don't know if Mouse has what it takes to defend. At the beginning of that last fight, another thing worth noting, by the way, the silence from Cavalifar not blocked. That was bad news for Apfel. Really stopped him from getting exactly where he wanted to. He was kind of forced to hit the front line, which I think is why Tyrus was able to stay alive for so long. Oh, the Flare spots out those active camos. They know there's a Kestrel somewhere nearby.
Yeah, and she's actually been called out here a little bit behind everyone. Cavalifar in a bit of trouble. Tyra's very safe with the Malice and Verdict. The second fear goes out, but it doesn't quite find the kill. Now Tyra's is left on his own. Oh, Justman will walk to his death, but Apfel's trying to clean up the fight. One kill for him. The heal didn't pop onto Tyra's, means he's not going to get a huge burst. Apfel looking to charge over the wall, but won't be able to get in range of Tyra's. The first Vein Crystal turret is gone, mind you. They have to take down this Kraken, which is sitting just over half HP. That's the backport for Apfel. He is so low. Potion ticking to try and heal up. And oh, that's a huge stun from Doom. It's going to be Tyra's going very low. Oh, a double with one Glimmer shot. Impressive stuff. They're going to be able to take down this Kraken and save their base here, AJ.
That was nasty from the Doom, showing why he's known for his Kestrel right there. Although I do think whenever you're playing against Kestrel, pushing into a obvious location like that, it's time to split up. If you're SK, I'm sure they won't make that mistake again. Still, really strong push by them. They've only got the Vein Crystal laid bare now. Only one turret taken by Mouse, so they have a lot of work to do before they really get in. This is a dicey situation. I'd honestly like to see Tyrus maybe just sell the Aegis for a Crucible. I think you want 2 on SK.
Perhaps, yeah. I think you... No, I think there's an argument for it. Oh, Kavalifar just walks away. Tyrus takes a one-shot. We can discuss it in a bit, AJ, because right now Mouse are making some aggressive moves. Not quite able to find the kill. Raph has healed them up to full. That's going to be a disengage with a Fearsome Shade. The Echo has been popped and the ultimate reactivated. Mouse, if they lose their lives, they lose just one member. This could be GG to them, but they're looking for the fight nonetheless. Justman so low, he's going to go down with Fountain and Crucible still active. Oh, Kavalifar walks into a trap, but look at the damage Tyrus is outputting. I'm the Doom, Apfel so low, and Apfel's going to lose his life here. Tyrus going to charge forward and look to try and finish the job. To answer your question, AJ, I think the Aegis is just so important for the shielding alone. Aegis... Crucible doesn't give it, and so you would be left very vulnerable to this Kestrel who's built the double Shadow Glass build. Right now, Doom, if he is able to save the base here, then he is a monster of a player. But it is going to be Tyra's with the heal. The one shot not connecting. Doom charging deep towards them, and Tyra's just happily putting out the damage. The block goes through. Tyra's going low, but the Fountain is there. He's trying to body block Doom. He's trying to do his best. The Oblivion, though, puts him to sleep. And that is Tyra's just styling on fools. Game 1 goes to SK.
Incredible stuff. Tyrus is such a monster on the Samuel. I do think Raph was definitely the unsung hero, like I said earlier, for the side of SK Gaming, though. Always setting him up for success. Kavalifar kind of struggled, but in a double carry comp, if one carry struggles, the other can pick up the slack, and Tyrus did just that. So in game number 2, definitely interested to see how the draft pans out. I don't think you want to give Lyra Samuel over to SK.
And we'll have to see how it does play out. Some interesting things to be seen in the draft for sure, as we throw it back to the desk to break down game 1.
What a way to start the day off. That was an incredibly close game. We're looking at potentially a day 2 similar to day 1 here. We had a lot of close games in day 1, and it's going to be SK taking it in the end. Tyrus went off this game, like every single fight. He was so consistent.
Yeah, Tyrus was able to get out so much damage. Had a 1 versus 2 or 3 outplay down in the jungle at 1.2. Really incredible stuff, but I have to give a lot of credit over to the side of Mouse. Even though they were losing turrets left and right, they somehow managed to keep the gold basically even throughout the entire game. It was a really impressive play.
This play from Raph was so close to being incredible. Nearly gets the second kill with the sigil.
Yeah, but we can see the sustain that Samuel gives along with the Lyra. They're able to put so much pressure on the lane, and that's what SK did. They actually got 3 turrets down and played that extremely well. The only time that they lost was when they caught someone off guard. They landed great CC because of the Ordain, or they got a Fearsome Shade into Ordain and just stunned somebody up. If they could not lock someone down and Lyra is free to roam with her 2 carries and heal them up, then Mouse couldn't do anything. I mean, SK just contested and got that first turret by just poking them low and just healing up with the Lyra.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a moment during the game where SK managed to take a turret basically for free, and it was kind of a moment that set them up for the success. It was around 17 minutes in the game. We have a replay of it. I want you guys to talk me through kind of the decision-making coming through here.
Yeah, this one, I love that, first of all, they're poking him down, they're focusing in lane, they're not chasing Kestrel into her trap. That's her win condition, right? You want to chase into her, even though that they're low, they're not baiting, they're not falling for that bait. And Lyra minion candies that wave, and then they just go straight for the turret because they know that Mouse is low. Mouse is not going to come and try to fight them and risk losing and giving more kills over. So this is the perfect play by SK by just playing to their win condition, which is makes Lyra shine, is that lane pressure that she gives.
Yeah, able to just bully their opponents out by poking and harassing them, and like we just said, not chasing. That was the key there. Is you don't go diving into a team that has a KESTREL. It's just going to be a mistake, and they knew that they could find the plays.
Yeah, and this fight here was so crucial. Tyras and Raph going 2v3 against Mouse.
Yeah, this was huge because Mouse actually won the fight in the beginning. They locked down K-Vol, Fearsome Shade Ordain, kill him, but you can see Samuel Lyra is just too much, and this kind of proves my theory that Samuel Lyra is better than CP KESTREL. We saw that yesterday. Xenotech, one of the best Samuels versus Hyde KESTREL, one of the best KESTREL NA, and Xenotech won that matchup. So teams have to really think about that. Is CP KESTREL really good into a Samuel and Lyra? And they got to think about that twice.
Yeah, I want to talk about this composition coming out from SK because it feels to me like it doesn't have very many weaknesses. It's not like this obscenely strong composition that can't be beaten or anything, but at the same time, it feels like it has very few flaws to it. It seems to be like above average at every facet of the game. Is that a fair assessment? Like, can you allow this to happen?
It absolutely is. It's a composition that was used almost all the time last season. It was very common to see Lyra Samuel paired together. The only things that were really able to deal with it was like Taka and Glaive were always picked against the Samuel. So if this starts to become more prevalent, maybe we start to see something like a Taka start to come back into the meta. We did see a Taka yesterday. Could be potentially coming through more and more if the Samuel becomes more prevalent.
To counter double sustain, Taka actually doesn't work that well. To counter double sustain, Glaive is good. Glaive with Baptiste, you want double CC, double lockdown. That's what counters double sustain. You can't play poke versus Lyra. Lyra is the queen of poke. You can't play a poke hero into a Lyra composition, and when they have a poke hero as well.
Well, Mouse are sick of it. They're removing Lyra from the game entirely and not having any more of this nonsense. Baron are going to be taken away by SK Gaming, and Grace will be the first pick for Mouse.
Yeah, I'm surprised Grace, Grace was banned on the side of SK, and then Lyra was open, and now Mouse is going to take that Grace. Vox is good into that Grace, so it's a great pick for SK. And I feel like they're probably going to ban away potentially Ringo again and not give I'm the Doom that CP Ringo because he plays it really well. Because Vox is actually decent into weapon Idris. CP Idris, I would say late game, the CP Idris will probably win that matchup. So let's see if Mouseport is going to play a range carry into a Vox here, because melee is not that strong into a Vox.
Yeah, we researched the CP Ringo a little bit, didn't we?
Shout out to Sneaky for hooking us up with some information. It was apparently I'm the Doom has been playing a lot of that CP Ringo in the ranked games, and so that kind of explained why it was banned away in the previous game, but this time
we were scratching our heads a little bit with that.
I really like
to get
this.
it through if they want to try and run it, though.
Yeah, I really like this ban because KESTREL being banned, again, you don't have a healer against a KESTREL. Grace can keep her alive, can CC, and can keep heroes off KESTREL. So KESTREL ban is really, really smart from SK, because if they don't have a healer that can counter KESTREL's burst damage, then they should just take it away. So really good pick here.
Yeah, the Baptiste coming through here, the standard flex pick. I feel like this is the pick that you see Baptiste on B-side so often these days because it can go in the jungle, it can go in the captain role, and it's so flexible. We are going to see Idris.
Oh, that CP Ringo does come out. So now they should pick Arden. Arden counters the CP Ringo or Adagio. You need a healer or someone that can give a barrier, because if they pick Lance or something that's not good against the CP Ringo, and you have Grace that can just sustain them, they need to make the right pick here in draft to counter the CP Ringo burst, because he's going to build like literally 2 or 3 Shatter Glasses based on what we've seen in the VG Pro stats, and Echo on top of that.
Even a Finn could potentially work to provide that little bit of fortified health,
right,
to make the burst not as effective. Just anything that can help deal with burst is absolutely crucial for the side of SK. But they banned away the Ringo last game, so they had to know about this composition. And so you assume that they'll have something in mind to go against it.
Yeah, if they decide to ban it.
Grumpjaw. And looks like they're probably looking for double burst.
I guess Ringo can't ultimate if he's inside Grumpjaw's stomach.
I mean, he doesn't. That's one way of thinking about it.
If you look at the matches on for I'm the Doom on this Ringo, he doesn't build reflex block, so it's purely crystal. And so there is an opportunity for this Grumpjaw to disrupt the Hellfire Brews.
Yeah, so they want to CC someone with Baptiste captain, Grumpjaw eat them, and make a lot of plays and burst someone down. or they can eat Grace, because Grace has to dive in. And finally, they counter CP Ringo if they build an Aegis and a Slumbering Husk. That would completely counter his burst.
So it's everything we're looking at in this game is going to be Ringo based, I assume. Like how well this CP Ringo works is going to define how well the game goes. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And like Switch, I've never been a huge fan of the CP Ringo because it's so much is based on the ultimates. And if you just go Aegis, Slumbering Husk, you let the first ultimate hit you, that pops the Slumbering Husk, you take almost no damage from the burst, and then you use an Aegis on the second one to prevent all of the damage and the burn. It's really strong against the Ringo.
All right,
So
we'll
counter.
see. Yeah, we'll see whether they can counter it coming on into this game. We're heading into the second game between SK Gaming and Mousesports. Now, SK Gaming are 1-0 up. Let us know whether you want Mousesports to push this to a 3-game series or if you want SK to run away with things. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter. But it's time to jump in to game number 2.
Man, this is pretty exciting stuff. SK predicted the CP Ringo in Game 1, but decided in Game 2 they were going to allow for it to be a possibility, and I'm the Doom snatched it up immediately. This is what they've been running. Idris and CP Ringo as a combination for Mouse. We'll have to see how effective it is in Game 2.
Honestly, I can see it being very effective, especially paired with the Grace. There's just such a disruptive front line on the side of Mouse that it's not so difficult to keep your back line in the Ringo quite safe while he just channels his ult. You know, I think that is a very reasonable thing to have an expectation of here. It's going to be about SK being, you know, a very disruptive game, which could be kind of challenging. We'll see if they can make it happen.
Yeah, and this Grumpjaw last pick is very interesting for Tyros. We know this guy is a monster at Grumpjaw, can provide a lot of CC threat with his ultimate, but also his living armor stacks provide 6% damage reduction AJ. So if he has 5 living armor stacks, then it's 30 percent damage reduction, which I guess is actually a fairly effective amount against a huge ultimate like the Ringo.
We were just talking about that before the game. The question I have is whether the ticks just like wipe through it super quickly as well and make it so that you're kind of allowing Apple to dive in and capitalize on this weapon Grumpjaw who has no stacks because you already take them all off and set him burning. So yeah, we'll see. It's definitely an interesting interaction I'm going to be keeping my eye on.
So the thing about the living armor, if I remember correctly, it's actually he loses 1 stack per second whilst taking damage. So the initial
really
ultimate, right? The initial ultimate will make it lose, and then the burn afterwards will make it lose, and unless multiple targets are attacking. We are having a fight, perhaps, in the jungle. Raph and Tyra's going forward. That's a good stun. Justman's in trouble, holding over to try and get away here. Got that Benediction shield as well. The Tyra's is going forth. At full, gonna chuck a chakram out. Kavalavar's here as well. It's a whole big brawl in the jungle, but one where everyone's just gonna walk away.
Yeah, no one actually able to get taken out there. I like SK going aggressive, though. I think they've got the option to do that this game with Grumpjaw's insane early game damage. Raph obviously on Batiste, who's great in the early game too. I do think, though, that Justman, that Grace, can be obviously very effective in the early game. You got to be careful about walking to a Holy Nova. SK were very grouped up for a lot of those fights. It's something they maybe need to keep their eye on as they're positioning later on down the line here. Raph, I think, would be well suited, though, spending a decent amount of time in lane, letting the Grumpjaw just hyper farm in the jungle, and then hit 6 and go aggressive in the lane with some ganks. I also think that could be pretty effective.
Very intrigued to see how SK decide to build the Grumpjaw. It will clearly be a tension bow first item, but are they going to go double weapon power or opt in for utility based on hit? That's some big damage though, nonetheless. Tyra's coming in and showing up for a bit of love. I'm the Dooms here as well, but the CP Ringo not really going to be too effective at the early stages of the game, especially considering I'm the Doom has just a weapon blade and a crystal bit to his name. Raph maybe a little bit caught out here. It looks like Mouse are going to chase in. Apfel, yeah, dancing under the turret. The resonance bounce is almost doing a bit of work. This Justman's going to come in, try and provide some damage. Grouping up here, Tyra's is going to come into the lane. Oh god, the damage! Oh god, the kill! That's just simple. Valafar comes in and nicks that one away, and SK have first blood.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried for Mouse against Tyrus's Grumpjaw just because it's Tyrus's Grumpjaw. He is really good at capitalizing on moments like this. And look at this, immediately into the enemy jungle, getting that counter-jungling farm down. If you can slow aim the Doom up, this is not a cheap build. Like, obviously, there's one thing which is really great about having the Crystal Ring in the jungle, which is that you are going to be getting your levels quite quickly, and that's obviously awesome because you need levels on a Crystal Ringo. But the issue is that it is still a gold-reliant build. Like, you need a Shatterglass, probably going to need another Shatterglass, and you need, in addition to that, the Echo, right? So if your jungle gets strangled out early, you're of pretty limited efficacy later on as a result. So, you know, just picking the Grumpjaw for the aggression it provides might even be enough. You know, we'll see what happens.
Use the power of the internet to see how Doom likes to build this. So it's usually a Shatterglass into Echo, and then 2 Shatterglasses after that. So very interesting to see that. And this is something that he's kind of just been pioneering as of late. Huge damage from Tyra. It's just putting the pressure on. Even builds a Frostburn as his last item. He's played this against so many different teams in the last 24 hours. In 3-man queue with the guys over at Mouse, and some of it's been successful, some of it hasn't. But clearly, Mouse think it's enough of a spanner that they can use it to try and upset SK.
Yeah, I think that it's a cool idea, and I see how the comp could work, but I think SK is drafted brilliantly against it. Also, the Fear is going to be great at creating space against the disruptive front line that Mouse has to buy time for Tyrus to go into the back line and threaten this Ringo. Also, if they just Crucible the Hellfire Brew, at least in the mid-game before there's an Echo, they can probably just turn on to Apfel and kill him. And I think with Grumpjaw, they have enough damage to get through Apfel before the Grace Heal comes in.
Yeah, so my assumption is that the idea from Mouse's Tyra is perhaps a little bit too far forward. In fact, he's going to go down here. Doom should be able to get him. No, never mind. The Hail from the Fountain keeps him alive. Looked for sure like he was gone. I guess the idea from Mouse is that you have Apfel just threatening from so close up with the Grace. He play with Lance as well, so essentially a diving captain. In fact, they play with anything that Justman wants to. But always with the Idris. And so the Idris must be just that key component, that he's the threat that allows Doom to do the damage from range. Either way, Cavalifar in a little bit of trouble. His Apfel's going deep. The Chakram not quite finding work. Oh, that's a beautiful fearsome shade. Apfel going to take turret damage, and Raph just going to reap the rewards here. He completely outplayed Apfel.
Yeah,
Doom?
that was...
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Just Grumpjaw things.
Just CP Ringo things.
I don't know about that. I think that's a little unfair. We've not seen it pan yet.
That was cute by Justman. He actually holding over the stuff there. So more of an output, a misplay by Tyros to use that whilst this holding over was winding up. Yeah, you are right. I perhaps a little bit unfair, considering the fact that Doom's just finished his first Shatterglass out of the 3 that he's likely to build in this game. Echo going to be coming up next, which is not a too much of an investment for a jungler to buy here. It's fairly cheap, but obviously only the battery is what you get from that, so it's not going to provide any damage output or advantage until the Echo's finally built.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Right now, SK is doing a great job of pressuring Mouse as well, which is really not creating a lot of space for I'm the Doom to get the items he needs. I like I'm the Doom's positioning, though. He's kind of on the flank in the jungle. Maybe he can find a Hellfire Brew. It is off cooldown. That's the kind of thing which could definitely bring the game back for Mouse. They're at a pretty significant deficit, considering how early it is right now. Here it comes.
Here it comes straight on into Cavalifar. Cavalifar is going to struggle. Oh no, never mind. It's another fearsome shade, and Raph with another kill. Justman will go down as well. SK are just destroying Mouse in this early game, and this time it will be a turret going their way. Looked so good for half a second, but man, Raph has just been so on point with this Batiste.
Grace's visual effects are so trolly sometimes. When you ultimate an Idris inside of someone else, it looks like you're healing the opponents. And so for a second, my brain just automatically went, oh, Kvalifar's fine. He's about to get Divine Intervention. No, that was not Apple.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
But I mean, we've talked about Idris and Grace and their synergy before. That's actually one of the reasons why, not specifically the trolly visuals, but the ability to heal someone who is invulnerable for a short time. Looking at that last fight, though, this is kind of the issue I always see with Crystal Ringo, especially in the early to mid game. A reflex block pretty much just shuts you out of the game. And on top of that, you're super vulnerable. And past your Hellfire Brew, you don't do much, especially with this old-fashioned build, right? More modern Crystal Ringo builds have typically been alternating current first, and you do respectable damage in basic attacks, but you're slower to get off the mark with your big burst.
Holy Nova will block up. Tyra's jumping in here. Yeah, I'm just doing some stat research on games that they've won with the CP Ringo and games that they've lost, and if the Echo's not finished by 12 minutes, they lose. With the CP
that makes
Ringo.
perfect sense.
That's something to watch out for.
That's brutal. That fear just canceled an ultimate that would have hit all stacked members of SK with no reflex blocks, except for oh, actually no, they just got him back. Okay, so yeah, that would have been pretty nasty, probably. But yeah, great fearsome shade just cancels it out. That's actually another thing about SK's comp that I really like in reaction to what Mouse brought to the table. Picking up a Batiste is great because fearsome shade, I think Suijio is saying it has like range 16. For context, the Spitfire's range 9. So you're able to hit the Ringo during Hellfire Brew with that ability more easily than anything else. Bare minimum, you probably burn the reflex block. And if you do that, well, suddenly Tyrus is able to be very threatening. Maybe the silence lands from Kvalifar. It's very easy for SK to disrupt Mouse's plan. And for that reason, I think picking this comp was so risky. You could have picked Idris and Grace on B side and last picked Ringo against a lot of comps, and it would have felt really good, and you wouldn't have minded picking Idris and Grace. But on A side, it's very telegraphed what you're trying to do, especially when you're literally just looking up like what build he goes. We know they play this. So it's not hard for SK to plan a comp that really does counter most of the elements that Mouse brings to the table. I think they've done that very successfully, so long as they don't fall, radically far behind in the mid game.
Be very interested to see when I'm the Doom actually gets his second Shatterglass online as well. Very hefty purchase. The Shatterglass, most expensive item I think you can buy as far as the crystal builds are concerned. And I'm the Doom is being choked of his gold income. SK, this is typically what you do, AJ, when you're this far ahead, is you go into the enemy jungle and you take away their jungle. You push them up to the choke point turret so they don't have access to it. But this is even more important for SK to do, because if they're able to take away this gold income from Doom and really prevent him getting the Shatterglass before 16, 17 minutes, then actually the damage output I'm the Doom has is going to be nowhere near where he wants it to be.
It is worth noting, though, that I'm the Doom managed to hit his 12-minute Echo. So he has the tools that he usually needs, based on your research, to win this game. I'm not sure it's going to be enough still, but we'll see. He doesn't have any defensive itemization, and that's a big fear for me, because if SK can just get on top of him, he is going to evaporate.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Just stat research-wise, I'm struggling to see how Mouse feel this is the comp that wins some games. But here we go. It is going to be a Hellfire Brew onto Kvalifar. A second one's coming through. I think Kvalifar's dead. Maybe that's how it happens. Kvalifar will melt, and that is him gone. Never mind. I'm seeing it, because the reason I said this, AJ, is because I'm looking at damage output, and Doom's damage output in games they win is like half of that of Apfel's in most cases. But if he's putting the Hellfire Brew onto the target Apfel's going on, and Apfel's getting that kill every single time, then actually it makes sense. Now you're in a 2 versus 3, and Apfel he thrives in a 2 versus 3 as an Idris. It doesn't matter that you don't have Doom outputting any more damage. Justman, though, will go down. Overstay there. Crucible wasn't ready to go. They won't be able to get a turret for their work.
As insane as that was, I can't help but think that once there's Crucible on Raph, that can't happen. Like, Kvalifar had so much time before things went wrong. So just having the Crucible on Raph, I think, probably keeps him safe. I will say that your point about damage is interesting. Cool. President missed that, actually. The point about damage is interesting because ultimately, it probably doesn't matter very much if Apfel is not doing a lot of damage, so long as every time he's doing damage, it gets a kill. And that's something that will happen with the Hellfire Brews, you know. There's a lot of sustain in Vainglory through things like Poison Shivs and, you know, the perk on Batiste, etc. So there's plenty of ways that if you just deal incidental or gradual damage, you're dealt with. But the burst coming out of I'm the Doom, if he actually connects with both Hellfires, is going to kill someone 90% of the time.
Certainly seems to be that way. We are seeing another fight break out in the jungle. Apfel going to use that Shroud Step to try and get some distance. He doesn't have his Shimmer Strike and he is just going in. Fountain comes through, but can they keep him alive is the question. I'm the Doom trying to put the pressure onto Kvalifar, but that's going to be a knockback with the Fear. That's going to be a kill going over. Kvalifar will be traded, but Apfel goes down as well. And now we do have SK with a Kraken spawning, looking to take the beast and secure themselves a push into the base of Mouse.
I think it's very likely they can take this Kraken. Justman might try and stop them. He gets there in time. And Grace does have a lot of burst damage, Dalsy. It's possible. It is possible, but Tyrus has burst too.
Yeah. Also Ordained and Stuffed, if it was up, it just makes it difficult, I guess, for Justman to really go in and at least escape with his life. He is going fourth. There's the Ordained going down. Holy Nova stuns, but it is easily secured by Tyrus. And now, can he escape? Good sidestep. Here comes I'm the Doom. They're going to try and fight right now as Apfel goes in. I'm the Doom's running from Kvalifar. Apfel, though, on the back, doing a bit of work, is going to struggle to escape. Blocks up that Ordained. In fact, will just go down immediately. That will be Mouse without their main man to try and deal with this Kraken for the next 25 seconds, trying to defend their base.
That was closer than it should have been. I mean, Kvalifar really committed onto I'm the Doom. Took a lot of damage from Apfel in the process. Justman, of course, Divine Intervention, doing some serious work to get the fight even close to that point, but still SK massively ahead off the back of this Kraken push. Only 2 turrets left and a full health Kraken. This is pretty scary if you're Mousesports.
Yeah, and Mouse haven't got this second Shadow Glass onto I'm the Doom. It's not going to be coming for a little bit here. And this is just so much damage that can be outputted. Great knockback with the Fear, and that's going to knock back I'm the Doom more. Kvalifar is going to be able to survive, and all this time, Tyrus and the Kraken are taking the base. SK are looking to finish it right now as they go in. They stuff up the Captain Justman, but they've done the work. They've done enough, and that is going to be game 2 going over to SK. They take the series pretty convincingly, and unfortunately for Mouse, they couldn't make the CP Ringo work.
Yeah, that was really strong stuff from SK. I think they played around the comp that we saw offered by Mousesports very effectively. So it was kind of creative and interesting, but that's not always going to do it.
Wow, it's definitely interesting. Perhaps back to the drawing board. Either way, SK in the finals of this second week of Split 2. Let's see what the desk had to say about that.
Well, the theory was there for the CP Ringo, but it doesn't work out in the end. And Tyrus, once again, both games in this series, an absolute monster. And showing us why Grumpjaw was so popular right at the start of the split.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have something that's in the composition to counter Grumpjaw, Grumpjaw can do pretty darn well, especially when you need to win the early game jungle. They just completely shut I'm the Doom out. He had nothing to do throughout the vast majority of this game, really had very little impact.
Yeah, I don't know why early game they're trying to fight the matches. Like Mouse tried to get a few kills and they try to make some plays and they fight in lane. There's one critical fight. This is actually beautiful here. The Fearsome Shade actually pushed him into the turret, saves Kvalifar, and then the turret and then Raph was able to secure that. So really nice Fearsome Shades from Raph coming out a lot of fight. But this is the key fight here at the 8:25 mark. They have double tension bow and Grumpjaw has an aftershock. Huge power spike for such an early game composition. And they're trying to fight in lane. They should just play safe, protect the turret, let Ringo scale up because he's already behind. After that fight, they lose their first turret. SK takes Goldmine and they're 5k ahead. 5k ahead, and they get the second turret at 10 minutes, and from there, it's pretty hard snowball. But they do make some nice plays with that RINGO ultimate, getting some kills, but just not enough in the end.
And the reflex blocks came out early and were used every single time that RINGO ultimate tried to come out. You know, even here at down the stretch, Tyra's just working on the turret saying, okay, let's try and get a kill. Reflex block. Here comes the second ultimate, Crucible. And all of a sudden, Kvalifar is still alive. All that time is spent trying to take him down. Meanwhile, Tyrus is just finishing off the game.
Yeah, Tyrus is just like, I don't care about your fight. I'm just ending this. I'm Grumpjaw, so I don't really care. But yeah, I think Tyrus is deserving of the MVP in that series. Like, his Samuel was amazing. His Grumpjaw was amazing. They're both, coincidentally, his top 2 played as well. Like, this guy, when he steps up, he dominates games.
Yeah, and this is why Grumpjaw, you cannot let a Grumpjaw take such a crazy lead early game. He's kind of like a Koshka, just does so much in the early game. And remember, Koshka and Grumpjaw, they both fall off in the late game, so you gotta have a good strategy to get to the late game. And I feel like Mouse try to force fights when they're not ready, they don't have their power spikes, and they're just playing right into SK's power spikes.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, they couldn't really make the ultimate from the CP RINGO work too well. We saw one situation where it got through and didn't get blocked, and immediately you see Kvalifar's health bar just like dropping down until he dies. But unless you can replicate that scenario, the composition just unfortunately not going to work out. I believe this is actually the kill where they managed to take out Kvalifar. He gets the echo. K-Vol tries to escape, but you just see him tick away.
If it's not blocked, it does true damage, so it pierces 100% all shield, does 500 damage burst, and then 500 damage over time, which is the fire burn. So if you don't block it, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, for sure. And that is going to be the end of our first semi-final. Quite a quick one coming out from SK. They're not messing around as they take this one 2-0 over Mouse. And that means it's time to move on to our second semi-final. Clash up against Salty Potatoes. Both of these teams arguably upsetting. I feel like there's a couple